So you're having a chat with someone, right? Low stakes, you're giving off a good vibe, and then all of a sudden, your brain shifts gear. It starts to think about, what should I say next? How is this person going to perceive me? Maybe I should, stand up straighter, maybe control my breathing. What kind of impression am I going to make on this person? How do I look good in front of this person? It starts to run all these calculations. Am I being interesting? Am I putting the best kind of image in front of this person? And the harder you try, the worse it gets. The conversation starts to feel a bit crude. It starts to feel a little bit static and starts to not flow as well. It starts to get jammed in certain areas. The conversation just doesn't flow the same. Your creativity starts to lock. Maybe you start talking about the same topic for over an extended time and you can visibly see this person is bored. And then you start to spiral even more. The thing is, you're not actually necessarily bad at conversation. It's just that the part of your mind that's switched on for this process is not the correct part to turn on. Now, if like me, you work in the corporate world, banker, developer, analyst, those roles literally train you to think in structure, to think analytically, to always follow like a steady process in order to get the delivery results you're going to need. Meetings need to stay on topic. They follow an agenda. You stick to the time frame that you're given, and you ultimately reach a conclusion or a consensus or a decision. That thinking structure and that expertise is incredibly powerful and perfect for work. Now, when you're entering a conversation, completely different story. Your conversations start turning into something like an essay when that part of your mind turns on. But it makes sense why it turns on, right? It's what you know. In fact, a lot of the conversations that you've had, particularly how you spend most of your time at work itself, that's the part that's well trained and the one that you tend to rely on. So it makes sense that it turns on in a conversation if you're not used to having a lot of casual conversation. Now, in my experience, guys, particularly, we fall into this trap. We can talk on one topic for ages, and it can be some of the most obscure topics, like a history thing, a programming thing, some sort of thing related to finance. We love talking about that stuff. Now, the thing is, in a lot of conversations, though, even with other guys or with ladies as well, this gets boring. Now, in my experience, the best conversations I've had is ones that just wander, right? You're on a trip with somebody new, right? And you're just taking in the environment around us, right? You're looking at things that will just stimulate the conversation. You just talk about something and then you just talk about that thing. And when it needs to move on, it moves on. There's something in that person's last sentence that triggered a memory in you about another cool story you had. And then bam, you just segue. And it just it's where the river takes you, right? It's just going on a journey and you go wherever you feel like going, rather than having a set destination and you follow that path and that's where you're going to go. You browse like street markets. You just go to wherever takes your fancy, which is curious. That's what conversations are supposed to be. Leisurely wandering and exploring something new about the other person and them exploring you. But when your analytical mind is locked in, it's very process driven and your course is set straight. It's not fun anymore. So how to prevent this? So what I found out is that when my analytical brain turned on in conversation, there was always a trigger. It always triggered from fear. When I started to be paranoid about how the person saw me or how the person's gonna understand what I just said and perceive me as a result of that, how I come across, how confident I appear, how competent I appear, that's when the analytical brain starts to come in, because that's when it thinks that it can solve this problem here, when actually it can't. Or, more accurately said, it's not suited to solving this kind of problem. Not in this respect. Because you can appear confident and competent in a presentation of a formal delivery project, right? You most certainly will come across as competent and confident if you pull that off in the analytical manner. But this is a conversation. It's the wrong weapon. No, weapon's a bit harsh. It's the wrong tool to use. Now, the problem with analytical thinking as well in this case is that it starts to manufacture risks that are actually not present in this very low stakes conversation. There's no stakes here. There's nothing to lose. The person's not going to hurt you. At the very worst, you might appear just a little bit quirky, awkward, and weird. which is not necessarily something overtly negative, unless you're being a creep. But in this case, for most of us, that's not a problem. But your analytical brain is treating it as if it's a high-risk thing. You start to hyper-focus, your pupils dilate and crap, and you start to overread like their body language, the words they use, why they said that. But a conversation is meant to wander, and you just take what you find interesting and disregard most of the rest and just let it go. But your analytical brain locks you in. So counterintuitively, when I entered into a conversation and my analytical brain turned on and I started to be afraid of how the other person perceives me, I catch that, right? And the first thing I did, and I would encourage for you guys as well, is stop consciously thinking about how to solve the conversation, how to fix the conversation, and just admit the fear. I am scared. Now, don't say that out loud because that's weird as. And then the next question I would ask is, what am I afraid of, right? So first thing is admit that you're afraid. It's okay to own up to that in your mind, right? Oh, I'm afraid at the moment. And then think about what you're afraid of. And it's most certainly probably your reputation in some way. It's like, oh, I'm scared of how I'm going to come across to this person. I want to appear confident. I want to appear competent, but not necessarily actually be that. And know that when you're locked in thinking about how you appear to that other person without knowing that you are, you take all your focus onto yourself and you're actually not focusing on the other person. And so listening to the other person, understanding what they're saying becomes that much more difficult. It's not like you want to be rude. It's not like you don't want to listen. But because the fear has hijacked your attention, you can't be fully present in the conversation. When you do those first two steps, admit that you're afraid and also just have a short look at what you're afraid of. For me, that really just lifted the veil. I'll be like, oh, yeah, okay, it's kicked in again. I'm feeling scared. I'm afraid of how I come across. And once you just admit that, something fascinating happens. You start to take it less seriously because it's just like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about myself here. It doesn't even seem like that big a deal. But that shift, that thought suddenly shifts the entire gear for me. And it brings me back to that person. I'm like, actually, I just want to know about the other person. And then bam, the analytical brain turns off, or at least slows down drastically, and I start to be more present in the situation. It's not that serious. It's just a talk, right? And then you can go back to the wandering state that conversations are meant to be, instead of being like a large language model like AI. And when someone asks a question, you start to do this huge amount of processing to spit out something that makes sense. Now, unfortunately, our brains are not as powerful as an LLM, and we can't conjure up an answer that fast. We just return hallucinations, right? You start to get overloaded with all this information that you don't need. And that's why conversations don't flow very well when the analytical brain is turned on, right? Your mind is like lagging because of too much information. So when you acknowledge that you're afraid and that you're thinking about how you come across, and you slow down the analytical mind and you bring your focus back to the other person, that's when you free up your head and just listen to the other person, because that's actually very low processing. You just need to listen to what the other person's saying. You don't need to think at the same time. And then when you're in that state and the person talks, you can suddenly recall things that you previously wouldn't have been able to in the analytical mode. They can mention a stimulus, a sport, a hobby they like to do, or a feeling that they had. And then you can very easily start pulling similar experiences or passions from your memory. Ideas start to surface, like you start to think more creatively. You can think about scenarios and how the feelings that it evokes, or the experiences that it will present. Topics that really light you up in conversations. You start throwing out threads, good stimulus conversations to which the person can take and run their own experiences through. And then before you know it, you could be talking for 40 to over an hour to even 2 hours, depending on who you're with. And if something falls flat and they don't catch that thread, you can just casually move on and talk about something else, right? And because the analytical brain isn't hijacking you, it becomes so much less scary because you're just focused on the other person. You can just mention something like, something that they're wearing, or visual stimulus elsewhere externally. Now, I know the arguments about not talking about the weather and how that's a boring conversation. It can start there for a brief moment, but then it can move on to something else, right? It's just a small trigger. Now you're not managing the conversation. Now you're present in it. And this is an honest fact that I found as well. even with people who were completely different to me, who had completely different lives, interested in completely different things, by getting yourself out of the analytical mode, right? And just being present in the conversation. There's always things to talk about, even though you don't have much in common. You can talk to this person for ages, because if you talk about experiences, you talk about certain passions, right? These are things that click with another person. Sometimes I'm listening to another person and they're passionate about something that I would never be passionate about. But it's so interesting seeing them and why they are passionate about it and how their face lights up. It's just really endearing to see. And it's the same with me as well when I talk about something to the other person. So it's not the case that you need to have something in common and, you throw out threads and they don't grab on some of them, but they can grab onto the experience that you had that they can resonate with, and you as well. You don't have to use your analytical mind to engineer a conversation. You just need to stay present and it will come. You will find it. So to use certain techniques and things like that to make your conversation flow better is all well and good, but that's not the key to being a better conversationalist. The biggest obstacle in the conversation is your own analytical mind kicking in and taking you out of being present, right? Taking you into work mode. But what about you guys? What are some of your experiences when your over-analytical brain has kicked in, or conversations you felt didn't flow right? And why do you think that was the case? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about them. And if you guys like that content and want to see more of it, give it a like and subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next one.